Okay, hello everyone. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace the rear parking brakes, and this is the first time I've done it on my car. I changed the rear parking brakes before, but never the rear parking brakes. So once again, I changed the rear braking pads but not the parking brakes. So I guess this is going to be a small tutorial and just letting you guys know what I know and what I've learned so far. So here we go. So first thing you do obviously is remove the tire and you jack up the car. So I jacked it up, put it on a jack stand. Alright, so I've done that, and what you need to do is remove this brake caliper, and you do that. We're not going to replace the braking pads. You don't need to remove these bolts on the back, but if you want to remove the braking pads, all you got to do is take a 14 millimeter and just unscrew this screw back here, and you see, just screw it off all the way and pull up the caliper and just remove the brake pads. But this video I'm just showing you how to replace the rear braking pads, which are located in this disc. So it's 2-in-1. It has shoes and brake pads in this model Infiniti G35. So yeah. So to remove the actual brake caliper, what you need to do is take a 19 millimeter and take up these two back bolts right here. This big one, and there's another same one on the bottom. So what I did is I used a bunch of lubricant spray like WD-40 or whatnot, and just spray the bolts down to prevent it from breaking and helping it get loose. So, and one of the things I usually use, I use a long breaker bar. Well, it's just a long metal bar to help the process of breaking it. And I already broke the bolts loose, so I don't need to show you guys that, but I'm just letting you guys know. So you remove these two bolts, like once again with a 19 millimeter. So I'm just gonna unscrew them by hand. I already took them off, so I'm just showing you guys you know how to take them off. So I'm taking them off. I'm trying to speed this up. So once again, there's two of them. I think the top one I struggled more with than the bottom one. The bottom one was pretty easy. There wasn't too much stuff on the way. The top one was. You just gotta, I guess, play with it. Use an extension, maybe, whatever you feel comfortable using. I used, I think, an extension for the top one, and on the bottom one I didn't. I'm not sure, but I think that's what I did. So, taking this bolt loose. Okay, there it is. See, there's two of these right here, 19 millimeters, to get the brake caliper off. So I got this brake caliper off, and you're supposed to hang it with a bungee cord. That's what I did. I have a bungee cord right here. And one of the things I learned from working on this, from replacing the rear braking pads before, is that I actually struggled getting the disc off. I thought the disc was integrated with this, so I actually removed the pin and the bolt trying to take the disc off, and I realized that all you gotta do is just hit it with a rubber mallet and get it loose. And that's what I did. I hit it with a rubber mallet, and I have the Haynes manual, and the Haynes manual says that, well, recommends that if you have a hard time taking this off, you can just loosen up the adjuster for the rear parking brakes to I guess give it more play for the disc to come off. But I just hit it with, this time I just hit it with a rubber mallet pretty hard on both sides right here, and it just broke off. So, yep. So here's the rear parking brake shoes. As you can see, this is already wasted right here, and it kind of messed up the disc. So I bought a new disc, and yeah, so basically what you want to do is, common procedure would be to remove both wheels and expose both sides, so you can kind of you know, get an idea of how to put it back together. So yeah. First thing you want to do is I guess bring the adjuster to the minimum setting. So just turn it with a regular screwdriver. And I have my car in neutral position so I can turn this. So that's one thing you're gonna have to do is put your car in neutral so you can turn that. If not, it's gonna remain locked. So basically I'm gonna push this all the way up to the minimum, and going up, if you push it up, I believe it shortens its length. So yeah, it does. So you can see the clearance. I'm trying to make it as short as possible to make it easier to remove. And most of these instructions I got from my Haynes manual, and I actually called up a local friend who's a mechanic. He has his own mechanic shop down the street, and he helped me out with this. So so I got that to the minimum length. So now you remove the upper spring. I struggle with this. I'm gonna have to put my camera down maybe for this. Okay, let me put this camera down. Okay, so I removed the upper spring with some needle nose. I got these at Harbor Freight. Got, I guess, good tools for cheap. So I got the top spring off. Now I gotta remove the adjuster mechanism. So get that off. Now what you want to do is remove the bottom spring, and it's right there. So I'm gonna work on that. I'm just gonna put the camera down for that. Okay, so I got the bottom spring off. Now what you want to do is according to the Haynes manual, see it says you start with the rear hold down retainer spring. So you can start with this one, the rear one. Remove it just by turning it. It's pretty easy. So there it is. And then you can remove the forward one. It's pretty easy to just turn it. So don't line up the knot and not line up. There it is. Alright. Now what you want to do is clean the backing plate thoroughly in the contact areas where the parking brake shoes rest on with some brake cleaner. So just spray it on there. Get as much as you can. I'm gonna do a perfect job here. It's my own car, but I really do a perfect job. This stuff dries pretty fast, so make sure when you buy your parking brakes, get some of this brake lubricant. It's like $2. So once it's done drying, I'm gonna apply the parking brake lubricant to the contact areas. There should be around 6 of them, 3 on each side. So now I've lubricated all 6 contact areas with the brake lubricant. Now what you want to do is clean the old adjuster, or if you're obviously you can buy these parking brakes. You buy the parking brake hardware kits, which usually comes with the adjuster. But I'm speaking to my friend who has his own mechanic shop. He just said that we use these. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna clean them real well with the same brake cleaner, and then the hardware kits comes with lithium grease. So I'm gonna clean them real good and just re-lubricate them, I guess. Okay, so now what you want to do is take your parking brake shoes, and one thing I gotta tell you guys is that I originally bought my parking brake shoes from AutoZone, as you can see they're right there, and I put them on and I had a hard time putting my disc in place. So my camera died, I had to recharge my phone, but so I was saying that I bought some rear brake pads from AutoZone. They're right there in the box. I put them on. When I put them on, I had a hard time putting the disc on. Like, they were just too wide. They wouldn't line up, and I couldn't put the disc in place. So I called my local friend. My friend, he's a local mechanic. He has his own mechanic shop down the street, and he came by. He was looking at them, was helping me out, was trying to put the disc on, and he said that it's probably the rear brake pads, and if you compare them, they almost look the same. See, they look the same. They might be like 1/16 off. So that's one thing to keep in mind. When you go buy these brake pads, they look the same. Once you put them on, the disc won't. You won't be able to put the disc on. So what I did was I went to O'Reilly's and Advanced Auto Parts just to get extra sets to see which ones would fit. And the first set I put on, which was O'Reilly's, did the job. So I didn't even have to try to put on the ones from Advanced Auto Parts. So, and I had that problem before when I changed the lower control arms, the front lower control arms for my car. I bought some from AutoZone, and I had a hard time trying to tighten the bottom bolt on the lower control arm. And I did the same thing. I contacted my friend who has his own mechanic shop, and he suggested that I get different control arms from a different shop, from different auto parts store, and that's what I did. I got them from O'Reilly Auto Parts, and once I put the ones from O'Reilly Auto Parts, they did the job. So I'm just letting you guys know that, you know, when you go out there shopping, something may seem like it fits, but once you put it on, I guess, you know, it won't come together. So in this case, the one from O'Reilly's did the job. So now the first thing you want to do is place the forward shoe in place with the spring mechanism. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So I put it on. I couldn't put it on and hold the camera at the same time, but I actually ended up putting the spring by hand, just turning it, but it's a little bit easier with the screwdriver. Just make sure when you put this pin in, you turn it, you know, and make sure when you put it on the bottom, it makes contact with the bottom piece right there. Now you put the rear brake shoe, and it's the same procedure. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I got the rear brake shoe, and at this point what you want to do, well, that's what I did to make my job easier, is just kind of slip the disc in place and see if it goes in easily, and if it doesn't, then that means, you know, you gotta move these around, or maybe your brake shoes are not the right ones. So I pre-fitted my disc and everything is good. So now at this point, you install the bottom spring, and I'm gonna use my needle nose pliers. So yeah, do that. So when you put the bottom spring, make sure the lower lip right here seats properly. And now once you get the bottom spring, you put the adjusting mechanism up here. Just make sure when you put it on, the part that turns is on the left side. Once it's all set in place, make sure this rear braking shoe is setting upon this little metal piece. The same on this side. You can't really see it because this shade right here, but that part of the braking shoe needs to rest right there. Same on the other side. So once you get everything in place, I pre-fitted it against with the disc. I put the disc in place, make sure everything lines up right. And now I'm gonna put my upper spring. So once you get the upper spring in place, put your disc in place. So I had my friend who's a mechanic, he owns his shop right down the street, come over and adjust it for me. So what he did was he just adjusted it. He took the disc off, he adjusted the adjuster to the point where it just moves freely, and then he applies the parking brake. He makes sure the disc don't turn. You can't turn it by hand. And that's how he did it. And I know the Haynes manual recommends that you tighten it up all the way till you can't turn it no more. And once you can't turn it no more, you loosen it up 5 clicks. So there you have it. Hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask questions or comment.